Good afternoon, everyone. Blizzard warnings are out for the third Bombogenesis. Looking at about 3 feet of snow around Cape Cod, which has been increased since yesterday. Winds are already picking up. A lot of feeds coming across Twitter, live videos. And to soothe out the moment of stress, Bob Ross will just put a little happy tree knocking over a power line here. And seriously, you better get ready for the storm because they're underestimating it again, and it's jumped so much since yesterday's forecast. Expect travel delays across the Northeast U.S. Philly already milk hoarding. Not only is this Bombogenesis on the East Coast, but also California about to get pounded with torrential rains. And Hawaii, look out. 2 feet of rain on the way for you as well. Southeast U.S., bringing the plants damage to sensitive vegetation. Arctic melting into oblivion. Not really. It's still minus 30 degrees Celsius up there. And you know, all these climate scientists that needed to be rescued from the polar ice by helicopter yesterday. And while you're watching the video, please remember to subscribe to Adapt 2030 and click that bell so you can get the latest updates. And if you've been watching the news, how anomalous is this? The third Bombogenesis to come rolling across the East Coast. They've even renamed these as Bombogenesises, or whatever the plural is for that, but they used to be called nor'easters. But anyway, it's rare to have 3 come across in just 3 weeks. That's unusual. Something in our climate has just shifted. Blizzard warnings are out for the third time in 3 weeks. Looking at around 3 feet coming in Cape Cod. This will push west over the day. Now notice yesterday's forecast. Far less snow predicted, and then look what it jumped to now. So they're underestimating the intensity of the storm. I highly suggest that you do get ready for power outages again. National Weather Service putting out forecast storm total snowfalls. But again, these are going to shift and move around as this system makes landfall. There's an enormous amount of information on Twitter up to the second here of people with different radar loops and on-the-ground information. I suggest you go there to try to stay ahead of what your local news is. Going to be a few steps behind. They've actually even come to the point now to call it a Frontogenesis because it was even so strange for the weather forecasters to call it a Bombogenesis so many times that you, as the general public, might wake up and go, hey, this is really strange. Third Bombogenesis. I thought our one Bombogenesis was a strange event. Every few years it would happen, but we got 3 Bombogenises now happening. Now they call it a Frontogenesis. Okay, smoke and mirrors, let's continue. A little bit easier chart for your eyes to understand here if you want to pass this on to your grandma so she can see how much snow's coming. Anyway, the last few of these events, you can see the snowfall totals, especially the rainfall totals coming down. Millions of people without power these last 2 storms. Take precaution. I'm going to leave you over here with Reed Timmer's feed. The wind is absolutely whipping. It looks about 50 miles an hour, and the wind and the snow is definitely picking up. And I saw this meme. I really like Bob Ross anyway. And we'll just put a little happy tree next to the other happy trees knocking over a power line over here. And that's no joke. This storm also is going to extend the same as the prior storms. Tennessee, further south, Georgia, all the way up into Nova Scotia. West Virginia totals coming in already. 18 inches of global warming. I'll agree. Good feed. Look for delays, especially anywhere in Boston. I mean, this is where the storm is going to hit most ferociously. But anywhere in that eastern seaboard, expect cancellations of flights, delays, train. I don't care how you're going to move. Ferry, road, you are going to be delayed. And as human nature would dictate, with any crisis, there's going to be hoarding. So here you go, instance in Philly. So what happens when the real grand solar minimum comes and you realize that that's not going to be available ever again and you'll be on your own? You have to produce some of your own food in your community. I wonder how it'll work at that point. Look here at the 500 millibar chart. Shows you obviously that deep, almost purple depression is where the storm center's at. This will take us up through the next 36 hours moving. And I want you to notice the chart here, not only in the East Coast, but also the West Coast, poised for absolute smashing storms. And not just the West Coast and California, Hawaii also looking for 2 feet of rain. I was shocked. I said, no, is that? They're even talking about 30 inches of rain in Hawaii. Windward side is absolutely going to get pounded. Leeward sides, it's almost dry. I couldn't believe when I looked at the forecast. Some places in Hawaii are going to get 2 feet of rain on some sides of the island, but the other side, like half an inch. Anyway, out in Hawaii, something is coming your way. You need to take precaution as well. California, they're talking about drought relief. Well, you know how much snow packs up on the Sierra Nevadas already. This is just going to add to it. And the rain keeps coming, and look for the floods to start. And as this storm on the east passes and wraps around, it is going to send snow all the way down to Kentucky and push cold air down, even down into the panhandle of Florida. They're calling for damage to sensitive vegetation. How many of your plants are already coming up? How many seedlings have started to sprout already? What's in the ground because it was a little bit warm for this springtime? This is how we get crop losses in a grand solar minimum. Seasons are swinging out of phase. You got to understand, it's not CO2, it's not you, it's the sun. And all this spectacular headlines last week about the Arctic. Oh, it's 45 degrees. Oh, above normal in small print. They just wanted to grab your headline attention there. But where are they now? Covering the headlines now that it's 35 below zero back again there. I don't see any front page news headlines about that. Oh, and that European super freeze coming down where Spain's going to get near freezing in March. Where's the news headlines about that? Hey, there's another snowstorm down into Morocco this week. Why is the media not covering that? Nor will they cover what James Dellingpole has pulled up for us. More climate scientists rescued from polar ice. A group of U.S. climate scientists had to be rescued by helicopter from Antarctica after being trapped by encroaching ice. The narrative is starting to fall apart. I hope you do some of your own research as to why all these storms are occurring so frequently now with our jet streams out of their normal patterns due to a weakening magnetosphere on this planet because our sun is going into a grand solar minimum on a 400-year repeating cycle. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And if you are going to take measures to plant your own food, take a look at TrueLeafMarket.com. Heirloom and organic seeds. I consider these some of the best I've ever used. Truly, they just look beautiful. You can feel the vibratory energy coming out of them. And they have a seed selection for anywhere you have a grow zone.